I want to talk about living as a community. You know, it's really interesting that the night before Jesus died, he got his closest friends, his disciples, together. It's all recorded in John 17. And he prays. And of all the things that he could have prayed for the night before he died, the one thing that he really prayed for was unity for the church. You see, and it's obvious really, because if the church was united, if this group of guys were united, nothing in the whole world could stop them. But if they were falling out in lumps, the church would never get off the ground. They spend all the time and effort and energy just sorting things out. So unity is so vital in a church. Nobody expects us to be perfect as Christians, but church should be a place where we're forgiving and we're forgiven. And I want to talk about 4 things briefly about how we can be united as a church, how we can be a good and a positive and a wholesome place to attend. And the first one is by acting in love towards other members. I can promise you that if you're a member of St James's Church and you come along on a regular basis, I will upset you. I might forget your name, I might forget things you've told me, I might do stuff that you don't like, but I can promise you this, none of it will be on purpose. And I just want you to sort of say, do you know, maybe Neil's having a bad day. Maybe he's got things on his mind. Perhaps he's just going through something personal. I just want you to think, why don't I give him the benefit of the doubt? And I promise you something, I'll do exactly the same thing for you. So what I'm really saying is, we won't be perfect as individuals coming to St James's, but we ought to be really forgiving people. I want you to think the best of me, and I promise to think the best of you. So number 1, acting in love towards other members. The second one is by refusing to gossip. And this is really simple. I don't want to labour this point. Just don't go there. Don't get drawn into it. Don't go along with the crowd. Just don't gossip. In fact, one of the things I find helpful is, if I'm thinking negatively about somebody, the best thing to do is to pray for them. That it just puts you in a lot more positive mood about that person. Don't gossip. The third thing I want to say is by following the leaders. Now, it might seem really strange this, but I actually don't want to be the leader of the church. Why would you want to be the leader? Do you know, before being a vicar, I used to be a curate, and most curates are curates for about 3 or 4 years. I managed to be a curate for 10 years, because it's brilliant being a curate, because you can do all the ministry, but without the hassle. I slept better, I wasn't under as much pressure, and I didn't have to make the key decisions. So, you know, before we came to Liverpool, Margaret and I, we used to live in a place called Burscough. It's about 20 miles north of Liverpool. And on the edge of Burscough, there's the Martin Mere Wildfowl Trust. And certain times of the year, literally thousands of geese return to the mere. And you've probably seen these geese. When they turn up, they fly in a V formation. And there's 2 things that are really noticeable about them. They come in like the 633 squadron overhead. And the one is the enormous noise they make. They're sort of like a honking noise. Now, I didn't realise till a little while ago that they're not just making a noise, they're actually sort of saying to the bird at the front, keep going. We might be behind you. I know it's a lot easier for us. I know it's more difficult for you, but keep going, because the faster you go, the faster we can go, and the quicker we'll get there. And they're all making a noise. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Do you know, sometimes when you're a leader, the most important thing is that other people encourage you so that the church moves forward. The other thing, if you look really carefully at the birds that fly overhead, is that no one person's at the front all the time. They sort of slide so that the one at the front becomes number 2, and then 3 and 4, and they go right to the back. So what they're doing is they're taking it in turns to take a lead. Now, that's not to say that we can sort of pass who's the vicar around or who's the house group leader around. But in the life of the church, there are loads of opportunities where you can lead, when you can take responsibility, when you can be in charge, where you just press the thing forwards. So I want to say, whether you're a member in a purpose group or a bit of ministry, whatever it is, encourage your leader. Get behind her, make the thing work. The other thing I want to say to you on this whole area of following the leader is this, is if the stuff that I do that you don't like, don't talk about it behind my back. Just come and see me. Just come and say, Neil, by the way, I'm not really sure about this, or I don't agree with that, whatever. Do you know, usually it's a misunderstanding. Come and see me, think the best of us, and let us work things out. And the fourth thing I want to say that helps us to live as a community, to have a positive church, is by living a godly life. As soon as you become a Christian, as soon as you start going to church, people watch you. They're interested in the things that you read, the places that you go, they're listening to what you say. You see, the fact is, all of us as Christians, we're either a good witness or we're a bad witness for Jesus and for his church. Now, nobody expects us to be perfect, but a Christian is somebody who should be becoming Christ-like, who daily wants to be more like Jesus. It's really amazing, but Jesus called us the body of Christ, so that when people look at you and me as the church, they ought to be able to see Jesus in us. We're either pointing people towards Jesus or we're pointing people away. There's 4 things that help us to live as a community. And I want to finish by saying this. Life in the real world is hard. You get plenty of kicks, whether you're bringing up kids, whether you're trying to get ready for your exams, or whether you've got a full-time job. Life is hard, you get kicks, and people will say all sorts of things and do things to you that will just knock you and deflate you. But when you come to church on a Sunday, Sunday ought to be a place that builds you up, that encourages you, and just makes you feel better. The only way we're going to create that atmosphere is if we just live as a community.